officially headed to the San Blas Islands this morning. It started pretty early. We woke up at about 4:30 in the morning because we're getting picked up by our car at 5:15. So now we've just stopped at a gas station on the way to San Blas. It is probably a 2.5 hour drive to the port, where then you will pick up a boat, and the boat is usually about 45 minutes to an hour depending on where the island you're staying at, or if you are staying on a sailboat like we are, that's how long it'll take to get there. We are planning to stay in San Blas for about 3 days and 2 nights. We actually decided to pay a little bit extra to stay an extra half day on our last day. Usually you would leave at 10 in the morning, but instead we paid a half day's worth of fare and we're staying till 3 o'clock on our last day. Made it on the boat to go to our other boat. We've officially made it to our boat in San Blas. We will be here for 3 days and 2 nights, and we're so excited to be here and to explore and relax, and I cannot get over how beautiful it is. So many palm trees, the bluest water I've seen in a long time. We've taken our snorkels from our home for the night and come to this island where there's actually nobody living here. So we're gonna kind of walk around and check it out. But so far we've only been here a few hours, but this is probably one of the coolest places I've ever been. On this island. After a few hours of snorkeling and exploring the small island right in front of our boat, we climbed back on board and started moving again. The island behind us was all white sand and low palms, the kind you can walk across in a couple of minutes. As we sailed, the water shifted from deep blue to that bright, glassy turquoise you only get out here. For a stretch, it was just the bow cutting through the calm water and these scattered islands popping up on the horizon, each one looking like somebody dropped a handful of palm trees into a sandbar. Eventually, we reached the spot where we'd spend the night. This island looked almost unreal. Palm trees packed edge to edge, the shoreline tracing a perfect curve, and water so clear you could see every ripple of sand underneath. Before the light changed, we took the dinghy over and walked around the island, checking out the beach, the tide pools, and the view back toward the boat. It is the end of day 1 in San Blas, and we couldn't have had the best first day. Given that it started at 4:30 this morning, and we got here just okay. It's been incredible. We've gone to 2 beautiful islands and have just gone snorkeling and swimming, and couldn't have asked for a better first day.
Thank you.
If you're thinking of coming to San Blas when you're in Panama, but you're not sure, like, you should definitely do it. This has been such a incredible experience and it's only our first day. So I definitely recommend coming out here if you're coming to Panama. Waking up here feels so unreal. The island we anchored next to the last night looks exactly the same in the morning. Those beautiful palm trees stacked together, the water barely moving, and everything quiet except a few waves hitting the shore. We made coffee and just sat on the deck for a while, watching the light change on the water. Breakfast was simple, but the view did most of the work. Once we cleaned up, we got the boat ready and started sailing again, easing into another stretch of insanely beautiful water. All right, so it is day 2 of our San Blas adventure. It is actually already 1 o'clock in the afternoon. All we did this morning was relax on our boat and have breakfast, and then we left the spot we were at the last night and this morning and sailed for about 2 or 3 hours and came to this spot that we're at now. So there are many different ways you can come to San Blas, Panama. You can book directly with a boat crew, or there's different companies that can help connect you with different boat crews that fit your budget, that fit your time that you want to go, all these other things. So yeah, I recommend, I'll leave the link for where we booked our tour because it ended up working out really well. And my cousin, actually the week prior to us being in Panama, him and his husband came and did the same thing, and they had the best time as well. So if you want to get to San Blas, Panama, you can do it, I think, 2 different ways. You can do it the way that I think most people do it and how we did. You can get hire a car to bring you to the port. That then the boats will then take you to, whether you're staying on one particular island and staying in a hut, or you're doing it like how we did, and they will take you to the sailboat or catamaran that you're staying on for a few days. But you also, I believe, can fly to this area and then catch a boat. So either way, I recommend coming to make this journey to San Blas because it is well worth it and truly one of the most beautiful places. So that's how you get there. You also, there's, I guess, 2 more distinct seasons in San Blas. The one where it's drier, the drier season, maybe a little bit windier. And then I don't think it's as rainy of a season in other parts of Panama, but there is more of a rainy season. So look up when you'd prefer to come and kind of go about it that way. We're here during February, which is considered high season. I think November, December to April, May is considered the dry high season. So you'll want to book as far advance as you can to get the boat or excursion that you want for San Blas. I should also make a note while coming out to San Blas, the road to the port, I would say 2/3 of it you're on straight roads, maybe even a highway at times, but I would say the other last third is going to be on windy roads and up mountains. So I would take that into consideration when you are booking this tour. Either just book a private tour so you know if you get car sick to book it so then you can have a seat in the front. We ended up just doing a shared one and sat all the way in the back. It worked out okay for us, but just keep that in mind if you do get more car sick. And then the boat ride to wherever you're going on the islands or in the archipelago of islands. It's not a big boat per se. The drivers and boat crew are fantastic for getting you around, but just know it's a smaller boat considering going to some of the bigger boats that you're going to. But keep that in mind when you're coming to and from San Blas Islands. We are sailing to our final island for the night, and we were just sitting in the back of the sailboat minding our business, me not trying to get seasick, and there we saw dolphins. We actually ended up seeing 4 dolphins. One ended up kind of playing with the front of the boat for a bit, and we got to see him. He waved to us. It was great. The next morning on our San Blas Island adventure. Today, unfortunately, was a little bit rainy, but it looks like it's starting to clear up a little bit now. And so we just enjoyed breakfast. Saw 2 stingrays, which was really cool. And now we're headed to a beach just to relax and go snorkel for a little bit until we have to actually start sailing and then leave. Decided to come to San Blas. I think at first we weren't totally sure given just the logistics of getting there and timing, but we're so glad that we did, and we're so glad that we ended up staying 2 nights instead of 1, or even some people do day trips, which can definitely be done. There's some cool islands closer to where the port is that you don't have to go as far, but I think the real magic is being able to be here and get up early when the sun is getting up and seeing all the islands come to life, but also getting to sleep or lay out under the stars and see that many stars. I know for me, living in Chicago, you don't see that many stars almost ever. So it is, at least I recommend 1 night being here in San Blas. Again, whether maybe you struggle with seasickness a little bit, so you're gonna not want to go and sleep on a sailboat or catamaran, but you want to stay. We're actually at an island that has tents, and there's some islands that have huts that you can stay at for a few days or just 1 night. That I definitely recommend making the trip out here. It is really beautiful and magical. So I believe I mentioned this earlier, but I think this is the island that we're on is a perfect example of another way to stay in San Blas. It is one that this one has tents, but when we were figuring out where we wanted to go and stay, there were ones that had kind of huts that you can get individual and private, but also some that were just kind of hostel-like that I think maybe had like 10 beds in a room, or a catamaran and sailboat, like how we did it. So this is just one of the examples of, I think, how you can come to San Blas. I think the ones in the huts, especially the shared ones, can be a cheaper way to come out here. And despite the 3rd day, today being a little gloomy and rainy, we were talking to our boat captain, and he was saying that normally, I mean, this is the dry season, so it's a little unusual that we're getting rain. We actually had rain our first night and last night as well, but he was saying that even in kind of their wet season, if the further you go from the mountains, there's the mainland over there, it gets drier. So I'd say even in the wetter season in San Blas, I think you can work to go a bit further from shore and it's less rainy. So I think it's a decent time to come all year long, just knowing that maybe going closer to the mountains, you might get a little bit more rain at some parts of the year. Now all the things that I recommend you bring when you come to San Blas, again, whether that's if you're staying on an island for a night or a few days, or on a sailboat or catamaran, well, a bathing suit. That's pretty much all we lived in. It's been either our bathing suits or our pajamas each day. Maybe bring a few bathing suits just in case one is still wet and you need another one. Also, if you're like me, you need sunscreen. So definitely bring your sunscreen. The sun here is no joke. So bring your sunscreen. I would also say some parts of the year, maybe during the parts that can get a bit rainier, have some bug spray. We've had a few bug bites, but nothing that I thought we would have, but bring it just nevertheless. Again, pair of pajamas, bathing suit, your sunscreen, whatever type of camera you want to bring. I have my Nikon with me. I also still have a protector for my phone, just in case. But I also think I would talk to your captain or crew or the island you're staying at to make sure that they have towels that you can borrow. We were able to borrow theirs. They also had snorkel gear, so we didn't need to bring any of that. Let's see, I also would bring maybe some snacks with you just in case. I think that was really helpful to have, though our part of our package was to have 3 meals a day, and it's been fantastic, so that has been really great. And yeah, I would say those are some of the biggest things that I recommend bringing, but honestly I wouldn't bring more than you need for this kind of adventure. I think if you are traveling with a big suitcase, maybe to find a hotel or locker back in Panama City to leave it in and just bring the essentials for however long you're coming. You really don't need anything that big. We did see one couple with a giant suitcase, and even the boats to get to where you need to go aren't that big. So the less that you have, the better. And then I would say to bring some things for waterproof things, whether that's a trash bag to honestly put your bag in. The boat ride out there can get a little bit wet. Our stuff didn't, but I could see like when it's raining, you're going to and from, probably just to have that, or at least your electronics and valuables taken care of. We'd already spent the morning on another island, so after packing up, we got back on the boat and started the final stretch of sailing for the trip. Most of this part of the day was just us out on the deck, taking in the last bit of open water. Steady wind, calm sea, and that mix of deep blue and bright turquoise shifting around the boat as we moved. It was the kind of sailing where you end up watching everything a little bit longer because you know it's almost over. Eventually, we reached our last stop, anchoring near an island with the clearest, bluest water we'd seen this whole trip. It looked almost transparent, like you could trace every ripple on the sand below. While we waited for our other boat to come pick us up and take us back to mainland, we took in the view one more time, enjoying the last little bit of this paradise. It's our last few minutes in our last island of the day, and this one is one of the bluest waters that we've seen, and it's an incredible way to end our time in San Blas. So thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next video.